So here is the prototype of the Aaton footage counter. The front panel is not finished, so I will make the final front panels, but this is otherwise similar than the final device. So it has 1/4" thread there to mount it, and it's supposed to be Arri compatible pins, but I haven't tested it. The dimensions are the same, so it's very compact device. And 3 control buttons, everything is done with this. It has TX12 connector, so these are very easy to get and cheap connectors. The plug looks like this. It's just the same than used on some of my camera motors. So this costs something like $1 or something like that. Very easy to get more of this. I will include at least one spare connector if you want to make your own cables. So I'm gonna switch the power on. Let's see when it's starting. And this is made originally for Aaton. Actually for Aaton 35-3, the 35mm Aaton. But I'm gonna use this with Aaton LTR. It's compatible with Xtera and 35-3, and then the Xtera should be compatible with Xtera. Doesn't work with a minima. That's pretty much I don't know about Penelope, but Penelope doesn't need this kind of device. So this is mainly for LTR and Xtera Prod and the 35-3 Aaton, and it should be fully compatible with Arri SR1 and SR2, but I don't have possibility to test it here. So I'm waiting for someone to order one of these to test with the Arri SR1 report. This has the footage counter. It's in feeds now. It's possible to switch to meters. It's counting in feet anyway because it's more precise and easier. It counts the footage in feeds always, but it can convert the display value to meters if you change the setting. So this works with most Aatons and the SR1 and 2, and then I added the one preset speed generator preset for CP16R, which has 24 FPS gears. So the black belt drive gear, which is 24 FPS, which is most common. The red gear is 25, but if you want to use a device like this with the CP16R, then it's fully possible. You have to install some kind of connector to connect this to the camera, and which feeds power to this, either 10 volts or 20 volts from the camera. Most of the camera mainboard works at 10 volts, the original CP16R board, and the batteries are 20 volts, so either one to power this. And then you will need the frame pulse signal, so the same signal which goes to the original CP16 internal counter and is used for shutter parking, so it gives 1 pulse per frame when the camera runs. So you will need that kind of signal. This can count the footage from pretty much any camera which can provide that 1 pulse per revolution signal. If you have something else on the camera, you can ask for custom firmware, or I can add some compatibility mode. It's, for example, if it's 2 pulses per revolution, I can make a preset for that. And I can add maybe 2 more presets to the speed generator for different cameras. At least 1, but probably 2. So you can ask about the test. So I have actually this in zip. Let's see. I have basically the set button. This doesn't have any screen lock or button lock system. So basically the set button changes between modes. So it has total footage, remaining footage is the second display mode, and third mode is the takes. So when the camera stops, it updates these. And there's the last take and previous takes, a couple of others. These are not saved to the memory, so you will lose this information if you cut the power from this device. But these counters are saved always. So you can, let's take something point. There's the total footage in feet, like you see. And battery voltage, this is the speed generator preset. And if it wants to announce some information, then that goes here. This, which now reads 0, is the frame, single frames, individual frames. So this, for example, if it's in 16mm mode, the footage counter, then you can select it from the start menu. If you boot it so that you hold certain button down when booting, then it goes to the camera selection mode, and you can select the camera preset, for example, Aaton LTR or Arri SR or CP16R, and then you can, well, generic Aaton preset. It's otherwise the same than the LTR preset, but the LTR preset has crystal generator speed limiter, so it doesn't go over 33.333 fps, which is crystal generator, and the CP16R goes to 50 fps. Otherwise this goes to 75, but you can run the LTR at 75 fps, so it has to have some limiter for that. Otherwise the 2 Aaton presets are the same. So if you, for example, so it has the camera preset, then it has the preset for the footage counter, so it has 35mm presets, 2 perforation, 3 perforation and 4 perforation presets, and then generic 16mm, which is always the 40 frames per feet. And it calculates these footage counters from that. So it basically counts individual frames, because it always gets to 1 pulse per frame from the camera. Most cameras have that kind of output. It gets to 1 pulse per frame output. It counts the frames. If it's, for example, in 16mm mode, it counts 40 frames and then adds 1 feed and resets the frame counter. And if it counts in 2 perforation mode, was it 32 perforation frames per feed? No. 4 perforation is 60. So if it's in 4 perforation 35mm mode, it counts 16 frames and then updates the feed counter. If it's in 3 perforation mode, it is something like 21 point something, 0.3 something. I think it was 21.333 frames per feed, so it's not even number. So basically you can see a difference in the counter, so it calculates 21, then updates to 1 feed, then counts to something 42, was it 42? Something like that, 40 something, then counts the other feed, and then goes to 60 something, and then it's as close to even divide as possible to get. And then it counts to third feed and then resets this. So it counts 3 feet worth of frames to get the counter as precise as possible. Most other modes are one feed and then reset this frame counter. 3 perforation is 3 feet. It counts every feed, but it goes very slightly different frame. And then when it gets to even number, then it resets this. So it's very precise. And it should, there may be sometimes some latency in the display if you do something else, but basically, if you, for example, the camera is running and you quickly change this mode, it may update the feed number a little late, but it still counts every frame. I will test it to make sure it always works, but it's made so that it shouldn't miss any frames ever. So let's see. There's a couple of, I'll take the power off. Now when it's starting, I will hold set button. I went to the camera menu. One button changes the camera. Or there's 2 Arri presets because I couldn't confirm absolutely certainly which speed generator preset would be the correct one for the Arri SR. It should be the Arri 200, but I included the other presets just to be sure. Either one works and it should be the Arri 200, but you will test it if you will use this with SR. And then it has the CP60R 24 frame gear mode. And the other button changes the, for example, if we have Aaton LTR, should be in, or if you use the Aaton 35.3 and want to limit the top FPS 33.333, difficult to remember. Yeah. So want to limit the top FPS, this is otherwise the same than this. So this is otherwise the same than this, but the LTR preset has the top speed limiter at 33.333 and this has the top speed at 75. But yeah, so for example, using with 35.3 and not caring about the top limiter, so want the full speed range of the generator, then have this, then we would have, for example, 3 perforation camera or 4 perforation camera. or if using with the Xtera, then we have the 60mm, or if using these other presets, then it's the 60mm, because these are not 35mm, except some Arris may accept this single, maybe. So sometimes it might be for preference. Yeah. You have to make sure with your camera technician about the specs before trying with unknown cameras. So I'm going to use with LTR, I'm selecting this and then 60mm. Yes. And too late. Yes, I will show it again. So now it's in the, if changing the speed, we can see it's in the LTR mode now. And speed generator has the lowest setting off, and then it switches the speed output completely off. So it also switches the output mode off, so the camera should then run in with its internal speed if this is off. Because the output isn't even output anymore, it's in neutral mode now. Every other preset outputs the frequency or different speeds, so 2, 3, 6, 8, 12, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23.976 should be 24, 25, 29.98, 30, 32, 33, and we had the limiter here. So the top presets are taken off, and all the top presets are 33. And when finding a speed you like, then set. And you can see that nothing happens if you push these control buttons on their own. The set button works, but you can't change any settings with the set alone in this basic normal screen mode, so you will need to keep the one button down, then press set. It doesn't have the specific lock for the buttons. That is the lock that you will need two buttons at the same time to change settings. So the minus and set goes to the speed generator, plus and set goes to the neural mode. And with the plus button, if you haven't changed this yet, with the plus button you can go upwards 100 feet at a time, and it goes back to 100. Normally it goes to 400, so if you always shoot 400 feet rolls, then just let's go again. Plus down, then set, neural, it's defaults to 400. If you want to change it, you can cycle 100 feet at a time with this if you haven't done anything yet, other yet. If you want something else, for example, you have 485 feet shortened from the 1000 feet roll, then you go to the nearest full 100 is 500, then press down. Now it goes down 5 feet at a time, but it changes the plus button mode, so this goes now in 5 feet steps. 485, yes. And it doesn't go back to the 100 feet at a time mode without confirming. So if you haven't done anything other yet, then plus cycles in 100 feet at a time. If you go with the down button, you can now change it 5 feet at a time. Then set. Now there's a new roll, and you can see in the remaining, you can see that roll length here. The battery voltage reading isn't entirely accurate, but it's maybe 1/5 of a volt accuracy or something. I will show you I was going to change between feet and meters. So booting again. You can see there's on these. Yep. And you see the firmware or this. Yeah, it went very quickly. When the loading screens start to roll, then pushing the plus button down. It doesn't have any menu on its own. It just changes. If it was in feet, then it changes to meters. If it was in meters, then it changes to feet. So it switches between them. Let's set a new roll. Now you can see there's the decimals because this counts in feet. It just converts to meters. It's because this is a full 1000 feet roll, so it's still 305 meters. You can still go 5 feet at a time. Just because it converts to meters, it has this funny decimal spot. So yes, I will show you again the meter feet resetting. So loading screens, you can hold down the plus button now. Yeah, now it changes it back to feet. And there's other funny stuff when starting. I don't actually have to take the power cable off because I need to hold. This is made so that I will hold down the button when how to do this. Only 2 hands. No, I need to hold the minus button when switching on the power. This is tricky with the camera. So now, then power on, holding the EEPROM reset. And now can release. So it resets everything. Basically this, let's check the loading screen again. Oh, now I switched it on again. Check this. This are the memory address and boot count. PTC's boot count. So it resets those, and those addresses are dynamically changing after certain periods, so that this can. So it's pretty much impossible to wear out the internal memory, so it has to dynamically change the addresses every now and then. So the EEPROM reset also resets that if there happens to be something wrong with the dynamic addresses, for example. Otherwise it shouldn't be done very often, the reset. Probably you will never need to do that ever, but and of course there's other Easter eggs. Let's see. I should maybe read the manual. I think I won't hold down the button yet. Oh, it went to the camera. Selecting now, holding. Yeah. So this is basically diagnostic mode. If there's something wrong with the device, you can shoot a video where you go to the diagnostic mode. And so I waited for the certain screen to pass before holding down the set button, and then it went to the diagnostic mode and quickly saw the memory addresses it is rolling at the moment. So I can tell from those what is wrong with it if it behaves weirdly with the counter saving. But yeah, it's the new roll is plus down and then pushing set. If the 400 feet is okay, then just confirming with set. If not, then chasing 100 at a time if you haven't pushed the minus yet. If wanting something which is not even 100, then pushing minus to change it to the fine tune mode, and now you can adjust it 5 feet at a time, the roll length, then okay, and remaining footage here. And speed generator is minus down and then set, and it saves all these settings. So yeah, I remembered I wanted to show all the speed presets, so let's do that next. But it's the speed generator. If wanting to use the camera's internal speed, then switching this completely off. Otherwise you can use the presets if you want. And now it outputs the speed from the connector, and I have the wires here, so I'm basically connecting the speed generator to the frame counter. Now it counts something very quickly because it's very large amount of frames per second now, but you can see how the frame counter advances. Now you can see these flashes of the display. So the basically a screen. Now you show the save. Those flashes are basically to save the screen. So it resets the screen after certain periods, and it is tuned so that if the frame counter doesn't advance during 3, doesn't advance at all during 3 of these flashes, then it saves. We can check it again now. Then taking it off, you can count the flashes 1, 2, 3 flashes and save. So it checks from the frame counter when the camera has stopped, and then automatically saves the counters, both this total counter and the remaining. Now I just ran over the roll because it was so quickly, because I just took the frames from the speed generator. Yeah, I will connect this to the camera later on. So I was going to, when it has shown to save the announcement and you haven't shot anything after that, then you can cut the power. So you will wait for the save announcement, and if the save stays on the screen, then you can cut the power. When the save text appears, then it already has saved to the memory. Let's go to this camera selection mode again. So holding set down, then selecting this normal Aaton preset, which goes to 75 FPS. And I'm going to reset the counters. So to reset this total counter and the remaining counter, the remaining counter you can reset by adding a new roll. If you want to reset the total counter and the remaining counter at the same time, especially the total counter, then hold the minus and plus together. No. Yeah, and then it goes to the new roll mode, and then okay. And now you can see we have remaining. It's there. You can go to the new roll addition and speed generator from any of these three screens. So now the speed generator, now it's in normal Aaton mode. So LTR has the top limiter at 33.333. Then next one is 40, 48, 50, 64 or 75. So these are available with the normal Aaton preset if you don't select the LTR kind of safe mode for the LTR. And the CP16R goes to 50. Otherwise the same presets. Yeah, that's basically, you can see the same. Adding very large amount of frames. Now remaining 26 feet. Save. Now you can cut the power when it has saved and you don't shoot anything. Yeah. So I will make the final front panels, but otherwise this is final. So the final will look like this, but the panel will of course look much better, and I will probably mask this outer edge somehow so that you can only see the screen and then black mask outside the screen area.